Does cinema in today's times have any kind of social responsibility? Or has the E of entertainment and B of box office collection miserably dwarfed its purpose into something very small, something very mediocre? Now, if you sit and brood over this thought, the only answer you will find is a big yes. I'll tell you why. Gone are the days when directors like Anubhav Sinha, Hansal Mehta used to craft hard hitting stories that not only made you question your conscience, but also made you question the society you are living in, that challenged the whole societal structure. Movies like Mulk, Thappad, Aligarh, these were not just films, they were social documents on the screen that induced thought. Now, any cinema that induced thought, that doesn't leave you hours after you step out of the cinema hall, can nurture a good audience. And any cinema that has the capability to nurture a good audience is called as a good cinema. Now, let me know your thoughts on this. But in order to truly know what good cinema was, it's very much essential to go back in the times and explore the works by this filmmaker, whose name is synonymous to social consciousness seamlessly weaved into cinematic beauty, the cinema of Bimal Roy. Cinema is an artistic projection of real life experiences on the screen. Now, this is exactly what Bimal Roy's cinema was. He didn't need any kind of marketing gimmicks or promotions for his movies. His movies were born out of his understanding of the Indian soul, his life as a youngster, and his passion for photography, along with the capability to observe the world, is what gave birth to his cinema. Bimal Roy's films were deeply sensitive, poetic, and hard hitting. It didn't try to preach you anything, but it always showed you the truth. It was not about expensive VFX and extravagant sets. It was only about strong characters, great storytelling, and memorable performances. Do Biga Zameen is a movie that could make you cry just by the pull of a rickshaw. Long before Satyajit Ray, it was Bimal Roy who got inspired from Vittorio De Sica's 1948 Italian classic, The Bicycle Thieves. He decided to adapt it into the Indian context, which gave us Do Biga Zameen. Released 6 years after independence, the movie beautifully touched upon social subjects like poverty, unemployment, class dominance, and the effects of urbanization on the labor class. Starring Balraj Sani and Nirupa Roy in the lead roles, the story revolves around Shambhu Mahato and his family. Shambhu is put under a loan by his landlord, failing in the repayment of which his 2 bighas of land would be seized away from him, which would be eventually used to build a factory. A heartbroken Shambhu has to leave his village and he relocates to the city in search of a job. He comes to the city of Kolkata along with his son, where he eventually finds a job as a rickshaw puller. The movie is an all-in-all social commentary in itself, where Bimal Roy beautifully shows the aspects of both the worlds. He shows the innocence and charm of a village against the grandeur of the city. And he also shows two kinds of Shambhu. The Shambhu who is driven by principles, who fights back to uphold whatever is entitled to him. And on the other side, he shows another Shambhu who is submissive, who is naive when he relocates to the city. Now, when the movie shows the superiority of the urban ecosystem over the rural one for being able to provide a good quality of life, It doesn't shy away in showing the indomitable power the labor class has over the upper class by being instrumental in building great cities, infrastructures, and civilizations. Now, this is shown very symbolically in the movie. In one particular scene where Shambhu is carrying a passenger, he's speeding through the streets of Calcutta. The passenger asks Shambhu to run faster, and Shambhu obliges, but his attempts goes futile because the wheels of the rickshaws goes off his alignment, and Shambhu falls off. At this particular moment, when Shambhu is falling, the camera shifts to Victoria Memorial, where it's shown the edifice is shaking. Now, this itself is a message that without the contribution of the labor class, the city can't survive. The fall of the labor class means the fall of the city. Dobi Ka Zameen is an emotional ride that beautifully portrays the value of that indispensable yet strong support system, that collective sense of belonging, what you call as family. In the movie, it is shown when Shambhu's son, the boy, runs away. In spite of being stopped a number of times, the boy is adamant to be with his father. He runs away from home and he meets his father in the train. The little boy goes around the streets polishing shoes. Now, this can be seen as both vulnerability and strength as well. Vulnerability because what poverty can do to a small boy, someone who should be busy with his books, is going around polishing shoes. Strength because how a small boy can become a support system to his father, to his family. The French magazine Cahiers du Cinema that came out in 1951 and known to be one of the pioneers of film criticism. Now they popularized something called as the auteur theory. Now, what do you mean by auteur theory? Auteur theory says that a film is not just a film, but it should reflect the individuality of its maker, of its director, who has the right to exert some kind of a creative influence on his film. The director uses his creative influences in his work in the same way like an author uses his pen. Now, this is very much true in the case of Bimal Roy because all of his films bore the mark of his own individuality, of his own creativity. Bimal Roy's films were not about all that loud proclamations, rather, it was about those silent laments. His cinema was a cinema of heart, a cinema of soul. In today's fast paced age, with high competition among diverse forms of cinema content, Bimal Roy's cinematic legacy still stands out for the very reason that it's a gentle reminder that great cinema don't shout, it just resonates. That's all for today, folks. I'll take your leave until we meet in the next video. Thank you.